right, guys, I was OD'd on donuts Saturday night, stayed up late, and then next day I was a little bit of a downer. You know, being on the verge of winning a classic game like that and then losing it kind of knocked some of the steam out with the OD on donuts and such. So I was getting your coverage yesterday, but it really took me today to get the juice up. I'm getting old. So I want to give you your coverage today, kind of go over the game. I'm hearing some stories. I want to cover those and kind of dial them in a little bit because I don't agree with all of them. I do agree on some of them. And then I want to talk about you guys going forward. Obviously, 11-3, I think you just need a tie or a Dolphins loss or something, and you got the division. And you get the Bengals game coming up in 2 weeks, which really, that if you win that one, you're going to lock up the conference. And to me, if you beat the Bengals on the road and you get in the conference, obviously, it's Super Bowl time. I don't really see any other way around it. Whether you win it or not, I don't know. I got to see what the matchups are and such. Anything can happen along the way. But if you were to say, you're going to bet the house on somebody, I would say the Bills would make it to the Super Bowl if they can beat the Bengals in 2 weeks. So congratulations, guys. You're on your way. I do hope my Dolphins can come in and somehow perform a miracle and go there instead of you guys. But we'll see how that plays out. It'll be fun to watch this whole thing go. So I want to say thank you for stopping by. Bills fans have been a big part of this channel. I've met some really great people. I love talking to them. I really do. I love the comments. I love how classy you guys have been. I got my man Tommy. I got my friend up in Rochester and a couple other people are Bills fans. So I really appreciate it. And I do have a heart for Allan, without a doubt. I don't like good guys getting knocked down. So congratulations. I want to thank you for stopping by. I appreciate everything. I want to give you guys a shout out and a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without you and without them, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so the two big stories really that came out was what happened to the Bills' run defense. My man Tommy was freaking. I want to add some context onto that because I don't think it's really the way it appears. You know, because you could just look at stats and say something. But if you're not understanding what's going on behind there, I think when I bring light to a lot of stuff, I think it's going to mitigate some of the big yardages you guys gave up. And then, obviously, Allen's finally getting his due. There's a lot of people out there who are reluctantly saying, no, Mas, all right, he's okay, he's pretty good. You know, well, I think it's clear now. You got Mahomes and you got Allen. They're at the top of the food chain. They do it a little differently and a little bit the same, but they're both ridiculous. Watching Mahomes run around like a chicken out there and do all this stuff, it's crazy. And then you got Allen doing these crazy deep passes at every different angle and he just runs through you like a truck. Both these guys are supernal. They're on a different level. And then a lovable order, you got Burrow and you got Herbert. They're not on that level, but they're really good up there. So Allen's finally getting his due. He's not just some yutz. He's really talented, and I was happy about that. He had an unbelievable game. The first half, 21 points. Second half kind of got slowed. 4 punts, 2 fumbles. But context is king. And the first half, the Dolphins were doing lots of blitzes. They were bringing more than 4 guys. Heavy man. And you had Mitch Morse. And once he went out, it kind of shifted. You could feel the difference. And then the Dolphins decided to bring only 4 and drop a lot more. They were man sometimes and zone sometimes, but really only bring mostly, I think, 4 in the second half. And we got Phillips, we got Sealer, we got Wilkins, and we got Chubb. And we paid an arm and a leg for Chubb. So this is a huge talented front, and we were able to bring more pressure. Some of that was just poor days by some of your blockers who really, they're better run blockers. I don't know why they don't get more run block. I've been saying that for a while. Obviously, it don't matter. You guys keep on winning with just Allen, but I think it would be so much easier. But Saffold, he had a 12.5 PFF grade, 6 pressures. But this guy's a run blocker, and he gets draws and such, and Allen runs, but it's not the same. I don't think his talents are being accentuated, but that's a terrible day. Quisenberry had to come in at center. He had a 39.5. And then you had Spencer Brown. He had 3 pressures and a 51.8. Van Rotten stepped in and played good. I like him better than Bates in some ways. I believe he's more balanced and more stout. He had a really good day for you. And then Dawkins had a good day as well. You know, so that missing of Morse and he was unbelievable in pass protection. I think it was like almost a 90 in the first half. So that led to some inconsistency. I still think the run game would help you in situations like this. And so that second half, there was turbulence, but it really wasn't on Allen as much as it was a situation. Clearly, Allen, when he wants, he can dial up Superman. He could be the run game, and he could be the passing game. And it's good enough to take you to Super Bowl. But it's a little helter-skelter sometimes because you could see that first fumble really, that was a problem for you guys. I mean, you would have stopped us if it wasn't for the messed up penalty on the punt block. But then the second fumble happened. We almost got that back. And I still think that if you go to the Allen well too much, it could be a problem. But this guy can carry with far less than anybody else in the league, not named Mahomes. And whatever you do, you got enough to win it all offensively. So I'm so impressed with him. He's such a good guy. And I liked how he was classy enough to say, we're going to meet these guys against a good team. You could tell somebody the way they treat others, what kind of character they have. And he, win or lose, is the same kind of guy, which is a great guy and an unbelievable talent. So I'm happy for that. Your offense is going to be fine. Singletary had that beautiful run inside, and Kohu shot in, and it was like 2 or 3 yards behind the line. He glanced off. That was a beautiful football play. I loved it, and I love to see Kohu nail him and drop him for 4. But seeing Singletary do that glance, get off and pick up the first down, shows how much talent he has. And Cook, I still think you guys need to add more of that in there. We'll see. McDermott talked about this offense and team evolving every week. I don't know if that's just talk. If it's evolving, I'd like to see a little more consistency in the run game. We'll see how it plays out in the postseason. But this team with Allen, that's pretty much everyone's in agreement on that. Now the run defense. My man Tommy was a little upset. He doesn't like the offensive line. I keep telling him, though, put these guys in pass sets all day. It kind of lowers their talent. We argue about that all the time. But he didn't like the run defense. And, obviously you gave a huge amount of yards to one of the worst running attacks in the game. But that's not exactly what it truly was. I actually predicted going into this game, we would be able to run against you guys. We don't run the football a lot, even though we can make hay. If you look what we did to the Browns, it was very similar. They played nickel. You guys played nickel. So it's only 2 linebackers, and we were able to take advantage of it. I said that you go to our right guard all the way to our right tackle. These are big guys who can run block. Connor, the center, is not big, but he's a great run blocker. And if we actually run inside zones, we can do damage and get pop plays. Now, you guys sat nickel, which lots of teams do against us. We never run the football really, except when we ran against the Browns. We were effective against you, but weren't able to continue to do. We got a little finesse towards certain key moments. We were almost on the verge of running you out of that nickel, I think. And that could have helped us in the pass game. But Frazier held his water. I mean, you guys are a real vet. Dialed in that beautiful delayed blitz on second down when we got the ball back on a 50. We should have opened up on a run on first down, but we decided to go deep on a pass. And then everybody knew what we were doing on second down. But it was a perfect blitz to take us out. But it was a cold day, which makes tackling harder. You got 9 missed tackles. You were missing Phillips. And we are better in talent and size to run this football than it seems. So don't just look at our rushing stats and say, oh, we suck. Our offensive linemen were releasing and getting into your linebackers. And that happens when you're running a nickel and you're short on personnel. Now, on a downside, to support Tommy's point and say there is some concerns, you look at Shaq Lawson. He had a pretty good day, but he was always on, for the most part, like 80%. He only had 12 run plays, but he was on the opposite side. He had a 64.9, but he was never really on play side and only had 1 tackle. A couple times he was on play side. He was kind of out of the way. I think he tackled from behind. But he played pretty solid, He played pretty solid, better than I thought he would because as a Dolphin, he was getting abused a lot. And then A.J. Espinosa had a 29.8 with 2 missed tackles. He was a really big weakness for you. I always expect him to be better in the run defense, but he was abused a lot. And then Bookie Bashan, 36.9, 1 missed tackle. He was a big problem. Tim Settle, who I thought would be much better, 29.9 with 1 missed tackle. And so those are the guys that really sucked. They really sucked on a day. I hate to say it. I was trying to find something cute to say. And it was a big problem. I think if Phillips was in there, and obviously Vaughn, you're missing Vaughn. Vaughn can rush. and stop the run, and that's a big deal. It's a really big deal when you got a guy in there who's that good. But when you look at Rousseau, he had one missed tackle, but with 3 stops, he killed 3 plays. And he was on play side a lot. And he played really well. But Daquan's a guy that he had 2 run stops, 2 play stops, played really well for you. Big guy. And I do think even in the nickel, if you had Phillips pairing up with Daquan, with Rousseau, you would have limited our run game a little bit more. And so I wouldn't get too crazy. A lot of missed tackles. But in context, you guys were playing nickels. We should be able to run like this on you in the nickel. That's what we were coming out in big formations. We had a fullback and a tight end. That gave us a huge advantage. Problem is, we got a little too finesse in critical situations. We didn't drive it home. And maybe that could have hurt you guys. Maybe we could have won this game. I mean, there was opportunities in that second half. But we came out and got too finesse. We didn't take advantage. So I don't know whether it would have been a killing blow for you guys. But Frazier knows what he's doing. He's a bend but don't break. He waits and he calls some really good plays, except for the last 13 seconds. We'll see if that plays out. So I wouldn't go too crazy on his run defense. And if you look, Kansas City, they got Mahomes, but they're not going to really run the ball too much. Tennessee, they're going to run the ball a lot, but they can't pass, so it don't matter. Baltimore, is Lamar going to even be Lamar? He's going to run as hard as he can. That offensive line's beat up. That might be somebody you get a little concerned with. Chargers, they got Eckler, but their offensive line's beat up. Will they be smart enough can they do it? I don't know. I wouldn't worry too much. Miami, maybe again, they might, but we got to see how that plays out. It's a long way from here to there. New England Patriots, not worry about them. Jets, maybe a little bit. That's how the Jets are able to run the ball pretty effectively, but I still don't think. So really, to me, it's Bengals and maybe Baltimore a little bit, but I don't even think Baltimore. Bengals is the key game, and that's why I put this game coming up in 2 weeks as critical. They can run the football. Mixon, they can pass, they spread you out wide, you'll be in that nickel, and they can hit you if they decide to run the football. And so I am not really too concerned with your defense too much. I mean, there's clear holes in that with the loss of Hyde, with the loss of Vaughn. But I think Phillips is going to if Phillips can stay healthy, it's going to do a lot for you guys as far as defense. He can rush the pass inside, which is the most dangerous pass rush. He can stop the run. And he doesn't get lots of snaps. He's a big guy, gets tired quick. But with your rotation, I really like Oliver, obviously. He played pretty well this week, too. A little bit of a smaller guy. But you got enough internal DTs with Phillips to kind of not be hurt too bad by Vaughn, the loss of Vaughn. And like I said, the Bengals is the only team that I think that you should really be worried about. Kansas City almost lost to the Texans. And if they got to come up to if you have to go to Kansas City, maybe different. But if you could beat those Bengals, I'm betting a house you guys go to the Super Bowl. I'll root for my Dolphins if we see you before then. But the Bengals are notoriously scrappy. They've got a strong spirit. They can rush the passer. They can stop the run. They can run the football. They can pass. That's the real danger for you guys. But if you can beat them, look out. So overall, you guys had a great day. Knox, good game plan. Dorsey, to take advantage of the loss of our safety row. Still think Dorsey needs to grow a little bit. I didn't like that 2nd and 1 in the second half, and he does a draw sweep. I thought that was too cutesy. He's like McDaniel in some ways. It's just a little too cutesy, and I don't know why. I don't know what's with the cutesy stuff. Sometimes it's nice to be cute, and it's real brilliant. Other times, you just got to be a brute and just drive it in there, and I want to see more of that from Dorsey. He has improved. He had a nice first half, real nice first half. And Morse really, it did crimp his style a little bit, but there was some opportunities that he could overcame that, and I didn't like. But I thought he did really well in the second half, especially those last 2 drives. So it'll be interesting to see how he grows. But overall, guys, your team is poised. I'm really happy for Allan, even though I'm sad for my Dolphins. So congratulations, guys. You got a real hell of a team. I think you're on your way. This Bengals game is going to be a must-watch. Can't wait to cover it. Can't wait to watch it. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate everything. Kurt saying, catch you next time. Be well. Go Phins. Go Phins. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with acepread.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.